Good evening, everybody. My name is Sumesh. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody to the Wellbeing360 event. And we will be talking about holistic therapies today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sumesh. I'm the Director of Wellbeing at the Retreat Palm Dubai MGallery by Sofitel. It's the first 5-star holistic well-being resort in the entire Middle East. And it's part of Accor Hotels. We're very much aligned with the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals and the UAE National Wellbeing Strategy. And we do a lot of highly transformational retreats at the hotel. So the hotel is actually located on Palm Jumeirah. It's a 5-star hotel, 255 rooms. And it's more like a center for self-transformation. And we're also aligned with the UAE leadership vision of attracting 500,000 well-being tourists into Dubai. Let me introduce our panelists today. We have Dr. Maria Ridao Alonso. Dr. Maria is the medical director of Dubai Herbal and Treatment Center. And for the past 16 years, Dr. Maria has been practicing in Dubai a combination of Eastern and Western medicine. And Dr. Maria is very passionate about the preventive aspect in medicine. Welcome, Dr. Maria, to this discussion today. Lovely to have you here. Our second panelist is Hasna Al-Mutawa. Hasna is an Emirati social entrepreneur who is very passionate about well-being and has a platform called mindmina.com. This is a telemedicine platform, and Hasna is the founder and CEO of mindmina.com. And on the platform, Hasna has a lot of certified psychiatrists, psychologists, and primary care specialists, and over 20 active holistic coaches who specializes in various modalities like yoga, meditation, energy healing, mindfulness, Reiki, NLP, EFT, and much more. Welcome, Hasna, to this beautiful conversation. We also have our third panelist, Chikky Sirish, is an empowerment coach and healer. Chikky is also one of the lead coaches for the Retreat Palm Dubai. We do a lot of retreats regularly, and Chikky has been in this space since 2012. And have always been a very keen observer with the world around her. Sound, music, and dance have always been a huge part of Chikky's life. And Chikky feels blessed to be able to work with these elements to impact shifts in people. Chikky believes that we are far greater than what we believe and what we imagine. Chikky also believes in self-healing and believes that we are the best healers ourselves. And through sound healing and movement, we get a glimpse of our infinite being. So dissolve into infinity and become infinite. That's what Chikky believes. So welcome to the panel, Chikky. Lovely to have you with us. And we have our fourth panelist, Nia Roy. Nia is a hypnotherapist and a very passionate holistic well-being coach who left her career as a naval architect to pursue her passion towards the world of alternative modalities of healing. So she lives his life, she breathes well-being, and she's very passionate about teaching and integrating yoga, pranayama breathwork, and subcognitive work to help people transform and live a very balanced lifestyle. So let me first take a bit of time to explain about my personal journey. So I've been in hotels for around 24 years now. I came to Dubai when I was in 1996, when I was 21, after my hotel school. But I've been living this life for the past 25 years. Ever since my sister decided to become a monk, she decided to become a monk. After her master's program, she decided, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have the same life, the corporate life, or same material life. I'm going to be different. So I come from a very middle class family in Kerala, and I'm very deeply connected to my sister. So I went to meet my sister, and through my sister, I got connected to some great masters in my early 20s. And I got connected to the world of happiness and energy and consciousness at a very young age. I never knew that, I always did that for my own personal journey. I kept it like Facebook is separate and LinkedIn is separate. So my professional life, through my professional life of 24 years, out of which 10 years was in operations and management, I used to teach in one of Asia's best hotel school for 3 years. And 14 years as director of sales and marketing for large international brands in Dubai, promoting tourism into Dubai. That was my forte. And I was director of sales for this hotel. This is a 5-star hotel on Palm Jumeirah, which offers well-being. So it combines holistic well-being. Okay, we're looking at holistic well-being and combining it with the vibrant energy of Dubai, of Palm Jumeirah. So I was asked in 2019, why you speak a different language. Of course, you come from a corporate background, but you speak a different language of energy and happiness. Why don't you move in as a well-being strategist? To be frank, I was initially very reluctant to leave a career of 24 years in the corporate world across luxury hospitality, private banking, and healthcare. I was also heading marketing for a big group of hospitals, India, South Asia acquisition. So I was very reluctant to move into well-being. But I realized in 2 weeks that the universe is doing something for me, where my ikigai, my North Star, and my purpose is all getting aligned. So from 2019 Jan, it's now 2 years and 4 months. I never had to feel like going to work anytime. This also gave me the opportunity to work with a lot of specialists, SMEs, coaches, the world's best positive mind psychologists, psychiatrists, energy healers, yoga coaches, meditation coaches, Pilates coaches, the world's best nutritionists. Of course, we have great wellness chefs in the hotel because 50% of all the food that we offer is all sugar-free, gluten-free, lactose-free, vegan, paleo. And we run curated retreats. So not all the guests who come into the hotel are actually looking at transformation. But we run 6 main retreats. And all these retreats are branded as Ignite Your Inner Spark. So basically, we are into the business of uplifting happiness, energy, and consciousness. And we help people connect with their own inner self. Especially since last March 2020, all of us have been facing a lot of uncertainty in our lives. The pandemic has been a big teacher for all of us. We all love to judge, and we all love to be in control. What the pandemic has taught us is that nothing is actually in our control. And life around us is so dynamically flowing, changing every moment. We thought everything was static. We thought even our body was static. Our body is, of course, made up of trillions of cells. And as we speak, every moment, millions of cells, they die and new ones are born. And we have been craving for happiness. We have been craving for bliss in the outside material world. Seeking happiness in relationships or in possessions. Seeking happiness and postponing a happiness, I will be happy when I have this. Of course, engaging with the 5 senses and craving for bliss. It's very difficult to find this bliss outside because it's ever dynamically changing. The very fact is that we are the bliss, we are the light that we are seeking outside. So it's all about actually just finding time to truly connect with ourselves. No, it's something which is not an object which can be perceived through our 5 senses of seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, or hearing. It is something that can only be felt with the heart, the feeling, the presence of the divine, the divinity within us. And holistic approach, what we have seen is that holistic approach really helps people connect with themselves, where they can be in this beautiful space of being rather than becoming. Because we have been chasing, hustling and hankering, trying to impress. The moment we try to impress, we are in a state of ego. We are not in a natural state. At home, we are very comfortable. We are very relaxed. There is no inhibition or there is no barrier. And we are into the flow. The 6 main retreats that we run at the Retreat Palm Dubai is, of course, we do a basic weight management retreat. We also do yoga mindfulness. We do emotional well-being, spa journey, and fitness journey. For the emotional well-being, we do some retreat, we do DHA protocols. We are connected with one of the best psychiatric clinics. And for weight management, we are tied up with an aesthetics clinic. So we do have some DHA protocols as well for some of the retreats. But for most of the other retreats, what we do is we do have a holistic approach. So today's session is all about, I think I've taken my full 15 minutes. So today's session is all about exploring how we can, through alternate killing methods, through a holistic approach. We would like to hear from Maria, Hasna, Chikky, and Mina about how we can reach a state of well-being, find that purpose, promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being, improve our relationships, and optimize human potential. So how can we discover quantum physics and epigenetics and neuroscience and positive mind psychology using all the holistic therapies? So I would like to hear from Dr. Maria first about the holistic practices as a doctor who has been practicing Eastern and Western medicine for more than 16 years. Over to you, Dr. Maria. Mute and mute, please.
Thank you very much, Sumesh, for your introduction. My background is a little bit more on the medical side, so I will excuse myself if this goes a little bit further than only the well-being part, because I try to combine both my medical background with the well-being aspects. Body and mind, as you very well said, goes together. So on my side of practicing, it's a little bit more focused on the body and health, because well-being, part of well-being is health. And as you said in my introduction, I am very passionate about prevention. So when it comes to lifestyle and everything that we do, for me, what is integral part of my daily work is to discuss and encourage people the preventive aspect and the responsibility that they have for their health in order to achieve their well-being. Because of course, mind is crucial and important to everything, but our genetics, our lifestyle affect our health. And without health, it's very difficult to achieve that state of well-being. So I try to do a bit of a combination of both. My background is also psychiatry. I have worked almost 5 years in psychiatry as well. So, you know, we have a very great array of tools at our hands that we can do a lot of tests, blood tests, genetic tests, hormone tests, vitamin and mineral tests, to find out actually what is the status of health of an individual at a certain point in time. And that's like what I see as part of what I do for people. I find out where they are health-wise at that point, what they can do to improve that, and what they can do to maintain it. So this is the aspects which is big part of what I do on my daily work. And the connection to the Chinese medicine is Chinese medicine was actually invented as preventive medicine. So in the beginning, medicine in Chinese medicine meant you keep people healthy and you fail if you don't do so. So with Chinese medicine, we have also tools at hand that help us to identify problems before they become a disease. So we look at the tongue, we check the pulse, we listen to symptoms, and out of that, we establish imbalances in the body, which if you would go to any normal GP would tell you, no, you're fine, you have no problem, but yeah, you have the symptoms. So we combine the test results, we take into consideration what the patient tells us in terms of symptoms, check the tongue and the pulse, and establish the situation that we have. And then, of course, we try in terms of treatment to have like the most natural possible options. So always first priority would be to have herbal remedies, to do acupuncture, to do cupping. And of course, we refer as well for psychologists, hypnotherapists, healers. It always depends on the individual in front of us, what is their preference and what we think or what we discuss together would suit. So this is a little bit how the well-being aspect from a perspective of a doctor that tries to integrate this well-being aspect look like. So it's not like I don't sit there with a white coat and just discuss symptoms and give a prescription. I try to have a picture of a person at a time, which also includes, you know, emotions. I always ask about the mood. I ask about the sleep, like many aspects, relationship, work, stress, and then that to take that into consideration with the results of the test that we have gives us, I would say, a pretty good picture of what could help that person to achieve the well-being.
Thank you, Dr. Maria. Could you tell us a bit more about what Dubai Herbal and Treatment Center offers, and
Yeah.
what kind of doctors do you have, and how big is your facility, and what are your key holistic treatments that you offer at Dubai Herbal and Treatment Center?
Dubai Herbal and Treatment Center was established in 2003 as a center for holistic, or we call it integrative medicine. So from what we were at the beginning until now, we have grown a little bit. So at the moment, we have, as the biggest department is the TCM, Traditional Chinese Medicine Department, working with also 4 doctors for Chinese medicine there. We have an Ayurvedic department. We have homeopathy. We have physiotherapy, colon hydrotherapy, ozone therapy, infusions. We have a GP working with us and a chiropractor. So we have a quite big selection of complementary and alternative treatments. But what sets us apart is that we always try to combine that with the Western medicine. So it's not this or that, it's the combination of both to the benefit of the patient. In addition to that, we have also Eat Well restaurant, which is a restaurant which is gluten-free and also refined sugar-free, that also caters to the more health-conscious population. And we offer meal plans as well to people that want to have the convenience of having healthy meal delivered to their offices or to their homes in order to be able to follow a healthy food program.
You're on mute.
Do you also run corporate wellness programs from the Dubai Herbal Treatment Center? Do you also run corporate wellness programs, or you only guests come into your facility?
We have some wellness programs as well, but mostly out of the feedbacks that we get, people prefer an individual approach, that they come and then we, from all the tools that we have available, all the specialties, we make an individual plan for them. That usually is much more preferred, but we have few wellness plans as well, where we include acupuncture, we include cupping, physiotherapy, manual lymphatic drainage, homeopathy, so a colon hydrotherapy, a combination of the specialties that we have. But most people, at least that's my experience, when they come, they don't want to be put through, you know, everyone goes through that. So we try to really look into, okay, for you, what could work better, and then individualize the treatment plan. Great.
And ever since the pandemic started, what are the most regular cases that you're seeing as a doctor at the Dubai Treatment Center?
Well, the cases have not changed why people come, but what has changed is that almost everyone, no matter if someone comes with a cold or a flu or comes with a headache or a back pain, now the component of anxiety, insomnia, you know, mood swings, mild depression has like drastically increased. So even if they come first and, you know, it seemed to be all about body symptoms, that is a very important part that now we have to take into consideration with every treatment. The toll that this pandemic has taken on people's mental health, it's incredible. Yeah.
So as a medical doctor, Dr. Maria, we are very keen to hear from you, not only the panelists, but also there are hundreds and, you know, several hundreds of people watching us from around the world. So we would like to know, what is your advice for us? What kind of daily routine changes should we have as a medical doctors, and advice from you on what kind of holistic practices we need to have to reach a state of calmness and equanimity, especially with all this uncertainty happening around us? That's number one. Second question would be, what would be your advice to us for you know, boosting immunity, especially to fight COVID? You know, how can we boost immunity?
Let me start with the second question. So very, very important is what we call a healthy lifestyle. And that starts with so simple things as regular sleep and enough sleep. Some people think that is like you will get a medal of honor if you can survive with less sleep and more work. So, and research shows that the amount of hours that you actually need to repair and rest is 8 to 9 hours, not as we thought earlier, 7 to 8 hours. So it all starts with proper sleep. Of course, knowing your vitamin levels, especially vitamin D, it's crucial for your immune system, and supplementing when needed. Healthy food, and with that I mean proper food, which is real food, vegetables, and not packaged full of additives and colorant stuff, and tons of sugar or coffee to survive the day. So basic clean lifestyle with enough sleep, and really check some of the important vitamins, and vitamin D is one of them, and make sure that's enough. And then there are supplements like zinc that can help with your immune system as well. And if you notice that anything is not okay in your body, like for whatever reason you're trying and you're not sleeping well, your digestion is not working well, go immediately and seek help to fix things at a very early state before that can affect you. And with that, I mean, if your digestion is poor, you will not absorb your nutrients properly. If you don't sleep well, your mental capacity will not be at an optimum, and your body will not be able to repair, and your cortisol levels will go up, and that will affect your immune system as well. So it's like a vicious circle that you need to interrupt at a very, very early state. And again, people are individuals, so it's important not to just go, and today there was an article in Gulf News that people self-prescribe a lot and they shouldn't. And I agree with that. Okay, to take a bit of vitamin C, it's okay, but vitamin D, most people don't know, it's fat soluble. It can be toxic in too high dosages. So if you don't test it, you will not know it, and you can have side effects of that, even if it's a vitamin. So really to seek advice of a healthcare professional in order to do it in the right and healthy way. Yeah, and there is no miracle. There's no miracle. There's no magic potion to improve your immunity. It's really very basic things, and we all know them. We just have difficulties following it because sometimes it's not convenient or it takes effort. And exercise, movement is medicine. So to try to go outside and breathe some oxygen, especially when we are indoors with a mask, we need a bit more of oxygen. We need to go out, be in nature, and move more. And that is, you know, people with office jobs and, you know, going from the office job to the car, to the house, sitting on the sofa in front of the TV. Where's our connection to nature? It got lost somewhere on the way. So this is to just briefly touch your second question. And if you don't mind repeating the first one.
Actually, I forgot the first question.
It was.
That's okay. So, Dr. Maria, thank you very much for this very, you know, insightful inputs from a medical doctor. And it's, you know, it's a fact that, you know, body needs movement.
Absolutely.
And the mind needs stillness. So with that, I would like to move into the next panelist, Hasna. Yes, the mind needs stillness while the body needs movement. And in the mind daily, there are more than 70,000 thoughts which come into our mind. You know, unfortunately, we cannot control all these thoughts. That's what positive mind psychology says, right?
Yeah.
And most of these thoughts are actually repetitive, non-productive thoughts. And again, you know, depending upon, are we thinking in the dimension of the past or the future, or are we completely right here, right now? Our emotions, if you're thinking in the past, is usually low energy, like guilt or regret. And if you're thinking in the future, it's usually anxiety or fear. But then how can we bring ourselves into a state of joy, inspiration, enthusiasm? We are in the flow, actually. How do we dial into that flow of consciousness where everything happens so effortlessly? And again, most of the corporates are now becoming like toxic factories, toxic cancer factories, with all this fear in people of losing job, with all this fear which is instilled and the stress, toxic stress levels, basically because people cannot feel life, so they need to create this drama around us to feel life. So we would like to hear more about, your organization, Hasna, and over to you, Hasna.
Thank you, Sumesh. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Maria. I have a question for Dr. Maria. Remind me when I finish my, I'm curious to know something. So we at Mina provide a tailored consultation services to everyone. In this region, mental health and well-being is not well addressed and not well promoted. People stigmatize mental health, especially. So we try to fight stigma here. Personally, I would share my own experience. I'm a mother of 3 and I'm an entrepreneur. So I get lost with the busy life, the result-oriented style, the expectations from the society, I want to give more as a woman entrepreneur because there is a standard for ladies in business. So when I have all these things in my life, when I have all these components of my life pushing me to be stressed, I always get lost on the way. Then I go ask myself, what's my purpose? Why I'm doing this? Is this thing making me happy? Where am I going? Then I realized that, okay, these things needs to be linked with a purpose, and I go back to be structured naturally. It's not like a task list or a schedule or whatever. It is always reminding myself of my purpose and why I'm doing this. So this is mainly, I think, this is an advice someone gave me a few years back, and my life changed after that.
So Hasna, what would be your advice, or how does your platform help people bring in these kind of mindfulness-based stress reduction practices? And what would you recommend? Or you said you have a lot of coaches, right? Breathwork, meditation, yoga coaches, and also you have the certified clinical practitioners and psychiatrists and psychologists. So in terms of what your audience is currently subscribing, are you seeing what kind of programs is actually moving right now? What is the demand right now for what modality? Are you seeing a lot of interest for holistic modalities?
Yes, there is a lot of interest for holistic modalities, but what we are trying to do, I think our organizations and Dr. Maria's organizations are on the same page, because we're trying to integrate healthcare with well-care. So we don't want people to go randomly look for holistic practices or whatever. It's good, but again, without realizing what health issues they have, they might miss a lot. So we are trying to integrate, especially primary care, so GP's consultations with whatever complementary service comes after that. For example, one of our main focus is diabetes. So if you go to the market and see diabetes programs or chronic disease managed care programs, it's all about refilling the medicine. But what we're trying to give our patients is the mental health consultation, which is the most important thing for diabetic patients, because eating disorders, all these things are from here. It's not the insulin ordering. So we're trying to provide them with this, and then the yoga and meditation and the fitness classes comes over. So it's an ecosystem to integrate well care with healthcare. And lately, people, like, I see many people, especially my friends, they come to me, they know that I have this business, and they say, they goes like, I'm depressed. I hate myself. I hate my life. You know, these negative comments was very popular, especially post-COVID, but people need to understand the difference between health issues and mental illness. So sometimes depression is an illness, and some psychiatrists will go and from the first session will prescribe medicine to that. So people need to understand that you should not be extreme to look for mental health support. You should start from the curative part. So if whether you are extremely depressed or you're stressed, you need to have this service. No need to like exaggerate or exaggerate the thoughts in your head to look for. Sometimes people are looking for excuse. Like I want a psychologist because I am depressed. You can go to psychologist because you just need someone to guide you. Maybe you don't need a psychologist at that point. You need a life coach. But seeking help is something new. And lately we've seen this post-pandemic. Before, you need to convince patients to come and look for help. Now they come and they're lost. They just want to have someone to talk to, you know.
And one more question, is it covered by medical insurance? Can corporates use their medical insurance employees?
Yeah.
Your services?
So, yeah, we're integrated with some medical insurances, and it is like a white label solution for them for their patients. But mostly, actually, it's a global thing. Most of the mental health consultations is not covered by insurance. So, and this is an issue in the market. I've been approached by many companies who are trying to set up an insurance product for mental health, because again, it's a challenge in the market, and it's raising, and no one can cover it. It's very expensive. This is a gap in the market. And especially in the UAE, it's so expensive than other countries.
Thank you, Hasna, for the great initiative that you're doing.
Sumesh, before we jump, I want to ask Dr. Maria a question.
Please.
Dr. Maria, I always ask this question for doctors who jumped or tried to integrate Western medicine with Asian medicine. So what was the wake-up call? And I'm sure there was a wake-up call.
It was, I wouldn't call it a wake-up call. It was a personal experience. I was pregnant with my first son, and I was having really issues like nausea and pain, and I couldn't sleep. And my midwife at that time, she recommended acupuncture to me. And then I was like, okay, you know, as a normal doctor, to try that, you know, it's okay. I tried, and it really worked for me. And then, yeah, that's how slowly I went into that path. So I was. Thank you.
So when the world is actually moving towards Prozac, a lot of people are relying on popping a pill or having a chemical to sleep well. You know, many people say that, many coaches say that, you know, with 15 minutes of meditation and diving deep into yourself and a bit of breath work. So with a bit of meditation and the breath work, it is actually possible to align our energies, and we don't have to really depend upon we don't have to pop a pill or have some kind of substance. I mean, what do you have to say about that, Nia?
Right. Yeah, so I could just share a little bit about why I got into the space and how it has helped me. So I've had psoriasis since I was 18, 19 years old. And I pretty much tried everything on the face of the planet. I went to dermatologist after dermatologist, steroids, ointments, and eventually I was told that it's something that cannot be cured and it can only be managed. And as a young teenager, that's something very hard for me to hear. So I decided, you know what, I have nothing else to lose, so why not try Ayurveda? So I went to India for about 21 days. I signed myself up at a center, stayed there for 21 days. I didn't like the experience at all, but it helped. So after a month or so, I finally started seeing the results. And that was the most effective treatment that I've had out of anything that I've tried. But even then, it was only about 50 to 60% that actually healed. And then after the treatment, I decided to try hypnotherapy because I realized it was a lot more psychosomatic. And I knew I had to work with my internal state of being. So when I tried hypnotherapy, and when I understood the root cause of the disease itself, and once I learned how to manage that and get over that emotion, that's when I found the results that I wanted, and I don't have psoriasis anymore. So that was my experience with hypnotherapy, and that made me want to dwell into this world of alternative healing modalities. And once I started working with clients, once I started helping people with physical pains, and even though I'm not a doctor and I don't have any background in medicine, just dealing with the emotional state of being and finding out the root cause of those physical pains that they come to me with, I could like amazingly help them heal through these pains. And it can't be explained with science, it can't be quantified, and that's a lot of criticism that I face by a lot of friends who are doctors or from the medical industry. They're like, you can't prove this. This doesn't make sense. It's not true. But when people actually experience it and it actually helps them, it's something that can only be experienced. So that's my take on hypnotherapy or any form of subcognitive work. And I realize it all comes down to managing your emotions, right? Because when you look at human beings, they're not just physical beings. You have thoughts, you have emotions, you have an energy body, and only when all of these three states are imbalance, it then manifests into your physical body. So any disorder or disease that you have in your physical body, it always starts from a thought. So if you were to go backwards and find the root cause from where it stemmed from, you can always find your own solution. Because if your body can produce or have that disease or disorder, it has the ability to reverse it. So that's my take on it.
So that's the very basis of Ayurveda as well. So we have 5 sheaths of the human body. The first sheath is, of course, the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, and body needs right nutrition and body needs movement. The second, of course, is the Manomaya Kosha with all the 70,000, the mental sheath of the human existence with more than 70,000 thoughts. And of course, at the energy level, the Pranamaya Kosha, life force energy, because we attract situations in our life according to how we think and we feel. All the thoughts in the mind, the neurons fire in a certain pattern, electrical energy is created. And for every thought in the mind, imagine there are 70,000 plus thoughts. Yeah, every thought has a corresponding emotion or feeling that we embody, and that's pure magnetic energy. So we are actually moving vortexes of energy, and that is EMF, how we think, how we feel. So we certainly have to feel greater than the metrics. In times of uncertainty, in times of challenges, certainly we need to have the awareness that our so-called current physical, current relationship or current financial is all actually a past present reality. It all belongs to us, a micro moment behind us. And if we can completely be aware, if I can see what I do and if I can hear what I say, that's complete awareness. I bring myself completely into this micro moment. And in this micro moment, it is quantum physics. Anything is possible. We can tune into that infinite potential, infinite possibility, and anything absolutely is possible. So, Nia, we would like to hear more about chakras. We would like to hear more about the levels of consciousness. What are the, we would like to hear more about, we are moving between time and space, yeah? So we'd like to hear more about the 5 senses, the 3 doshas, and the 5 sheaths for the benefit of everybody from you.
Sorry. So this is one of my favorite topics, talking about chakras. So for those of you who are not aware of what chakras are, so chakras are, think of them like energetic centers. So in total, you have about 114 chakras in your body. 2 of them are not in your body. So technically, you have 112 major chakras. And the modern world, I would say, they are more aware of the 7 major out of these 112 major chakras. So these energetic points are associated to specific endocrine glands in your body. So you have the pituitary, the thymus, and so on, right? So what these glands do is they produce hormones. So depending on how deficient or excess the charge in your chakra is, it affects the levels of hormones being produced in that particular gland. And based on that, it affects the certain organs that it's associated to. And this is how you can identify what the root cause of certain issues in your bodies can be. So for example, if you were to take the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. So the root chakra is associated with security, with anything to do with the animalistic instincts that you have, survival, security, stability, grounding. So if anything were to happen in your root chakra, so any form of imbalance, any form of deficiency or excess, then that affects the hormones being produced in your body based on that, and that would affect your mental state. So if you were to have any form of disorder, whether with your legs, with your hips, these are areas that you can then start questioning. So what aspect of my life or my thoughts can be changed or assessed that could be affecting this chakra? So if you were to move on to the sacral, which is the second to the right, the one above your root chakra, this has to do with your reproductory organs. And the element this has is water, whereas the root is earth. So water is all about flowing, creativity, the more of the feminine energy. So when this one goes out of balance, it affects when you have, so for example, if you have issues with PCOD or PCOS, UTIs, these are disorders related to your sacral chakra. So if you were to combine, let's say if someone came to me with issues with their sacral chakra, I would perhaps incorporate and integrate yoga asanas or pranayamas or meditation activities that would directly affect that particular chakra and release any form of blockages in those chakras. So if you were to move on, the solar chakra, solar plexus has to do with your pancreas. So pancreas, this area deals with the ability to take charge, to control. So when you talk about diabetes, the solar plexus is the main root cause of what some form of imbalance in the solar chakra will relate to diabetes. And if you were to move on to the heart chakra, which is this area, your lungs, then you would know it's a heart chakra in your body that is the weakest. Therefore, it affects your immunity. It gives you lung problems, breathing issues. Then moving on to your throat. Your throat is the ability to express yourself, your self-esteem issues. When people come to you with spondylitis, you can even dig deeper, ask them in what areas of their life do they feel like they're carrying a lot of burden, they're not voicing their issues, and they're not expressing themselves. And I can assure you, you would have some form of correlation, or you would find your answers. And they would tell you, actually, yes, in this area, I don't. And if you move up, you have your third eye. This is the ability to foresee events, to make decisions. When people come to you with migraines, a root cause of migraines, if you dig deeper, comes to the inability to make decisions. So what I'm saying is, yeah, you can't cut open your body and find these energetic points, but you can use, like let's say a pendulum, or there is a Kirlian photography that can take photographs of your auric space and assess what your specific aura or your specific chakra and how it's functioning in your body. And then you can do specific breath work, yoga, or medicine like TCM, certain medicines that you can consume that can even affect the chakras in a specific way. So this is one way that you can work with chakras to help your physical or mental well-being. And when it comes to Ayurveda, so Ayurveda is a lot about lifestyle. So what is it that you can do? What changes can you make when with the food you eat, the way you live? So when you're specifically speaking about doshas, so there are 3 doshas, the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata, Pitta, Kapha, these are 3 different elements. So depending on a person's body type and the way they are, it is associated to a specific dosha. And depending on what your dosha is, you will be acting a certain way. The way the food reacts within your body will be a certain way. And you would even have to avoid certain food because of the kind of dosha that you are. For example, Kapha dosha is a lot more mellow. It would it's a little bit more relaxing. People who are Kapha, like major in Kapha dosha, would be a lot more slower, a lot more like slow pace, relaxed, whereas someone who's Pitta will be fiery, will be can get aggressive very quickly, whereas Vata, they're a little bit more airy, they're a little bit more in their thoughts. So when you know what your doshas are, you can then change the way you eat. You can then do specific activities that can balance out your dosha so that you can then come to a state of balance. But you would only know this if you go to the right people and assess your own body and what element you are, and know how to live a balanced lifestyle based on your specific body. So when you go to the doctor, when they don't assess these areas of your life, they don't assess who you are as a person and how you think, what your emotions are, what your background is, what you've come, what has happened to you, then when they just give you a pill to eat or drink, then that would it's like putting a band-aid on an injury that needs stitches. You know what I mean? So you need to delve a lot more deeper when it comes to assessing a person's issue or disorder or disease, rather than just writing off you have diabetes or you have depression or you have anxiety. I think that's not doing any justice to the patient.
That's really awesome, Nia. That's a completely holistic. That's truly holistic, which covers all the 5 elements, the 5 senses, the 3 doshas, the 5 sheets of the human body. And with that, I'd like to invite Chikky. Chikky she recently got the Wellness Icon Award at the Filmfare Middle East event. She's one of our lead coaches. And we work a lot close, actually, also the retreat farm, Dubai. We do a lot of highly transformational retreats for some it's like a center for self-transformation. And I'm more like a music conductor, we just allow all the SMEs, the coaches to come and do the transformation in this beautiful space and help the guests connect with themselves. So Chikky, we would like to hear from you on your journey and how sound healing and body movement flow can actually help us tune into that bliss that we already are, uncover the bliss that we already are.
Thank you, Sumesh. I think the lovely ladies have already touched upon this in their own beautiful way, because Dr. Maria rightly said that body needs movement and that we need nature. The sounds and vibrations that we receive from nature is the best healer. And Dr. Maria, so I have to completely agree with you on that and take a little note from you on that one. And what Hasna has said earlier about the fact that we have stigma in our life, and that there is so much going on and people are looking for ways to find excuses, if I can quote you correctly. Yes, Dr. Hasna, today we are living in that kind of a time. However, I would like to add something to that, Because even though we are living in that kind of time where people are looking outward, there's also this great amount of availability of information that we all have access to, unlike our ancestors who had to live in times where this information was just privileged to very few. Today, all of us, look at us on this panel sitting, and each of us having this amazing wealth of information that we share and impart to many people in our lives. And also what lovely Nia has shared about chakras and the energies. So I would quickly, because I don't have much time, I think, so I would quickly like to say that I'm timeless, yes. I am. And there is no space and time. So I think this is quite a kind of validation to the fact that there is no space and time. However, my journey started in 2012, well, actually before that, because I had a little bit of a crisis at that time in my life. Meaning everything on the outside was just normal, was almost like picture perfect. However, there was something internally going on, a war raging inside of me as to, am I doing the right thing? Where should I be right now? Who am I? Existential questions. I think I was about 38, 39 at that time. And everything was crumbling. I was having a little implosion, not an explosion. And of course, I had a lot of explosions as well. But my journey took me to a life coach back then and changed my life. And that's how I began. As Sumesh mentioned earlier about me, sound and movement have been integral in my life. From a child, I've always been, twirling around and to music and making beats and feeling a sense of peace every time I did that. And I am actually honored, blessed, grateful that I can do that with clients and 2 clients and 4 clients. I make them dance, I make them move. And with the help of traditional indigenous instruments such as Tibetan singing bowls, I help them to get into a meditative state and access parts of themselves that allows them to do their own healing. Because it's in the theta state that we do our maximum healing, which again, Dr. Maria mentioned that we need a good night's sleep, right? So sometimes even if you have 9 hours of sleep, I know this for a fact, sometimes 9 hours of sleep and you still wake up wondering, oh, I don't feel my best self. It's probably because I didn't have enough of the right quality of sleep. So through meditation, I get people into that quality. Well, most often they do go into sleep. Try and get them to theta, but they go into delta, which is fine. So this is how I integrate what I do, and I'm honored to be part of this space of wellness and holistic services that all of us are into right now, integrated services. So I hope, Sumesh, I've answered your question.
So as we are coming close to the end of this beautiful conversation, soul-centered, heart-centered conversation, very genuine, authentic, it is not scripted, just flowing. So I'd like to thank you, Dr. Maria, for being here. Thank you, Hasna. Thank you, Nia, and thank you, Chikky, for a wonderful 1 hour of sharing all these insights. Let's work together to uplift happiness, energy, and consciousness so that everybody is automatically connecting with themselves. Okay, with that note, thank you very much once again. Bye-bye.